yellow square was the NAC 35 years ago. Can you all see that? Yeah. It's a little tiny square right in the middle of all of this. So we once were 15,000 square feet on 3 acres, a bunch of racquetball courts, and that's all. And now we are 250,000 square feet on 22 acres, maybe even more, because we have a little bit more acreage over here. So it's pretty impressive where we've come, and you are part of this. You're our advocates. You're part of this. We want you to take as much ownership as we have. And now, with all of that said, I'm going to turn it over to Hervé.
So
the floor.
Thank you, Linda. She will interrupt you. But I do need to correct her on one thing. We go back more than 15 years.
Do we?
I think we go back almost 20 years.
We probably.
This man has hired me to do more work that hasn't been built. I think it was about 20 years ago that we were introduced by Rick Caro, and kind of a godfather in this industry. And Jim was interested in seeing what it would look like to put a pool up on this piece of property up on the corner, which is where the sports center now exists. But at that point, it was an isolated piece of property. It had that other industrial building between it, and then this club. He was interested in what we might be able to do up there in the way of an aquatic layout. And so he spent a bunch of money with us to explore that option. And fortunately, we didn't build it. Because, as you know, ultimately the intervening building became available, and as a man with foresight, Jim and his partners knew that long term it was a great strategy to add to their holdings, and that's what made it possible for the NAC to be what it is today. And I think, I probably don't need to tell you this. I think if you're paying attention, you realize that the ownership here at this club is really unique. The degree to which they reinvest, and there's a constant improvement program going on in this facility that is good for my business, and I think great for your member experience. It's not something that happens everywhere across the country. I think you really ought to understand that you've got a pretty unique set of circumstances here. Somebody who's got a successful athletic club, and his partners, and they're willing to put money back into the facility. The Japanese have a word for it, kaizen, which is constant improvement. And I've really never met a client that embodies that concept to the degree that Jim does. So we did have this this initial experience where we were designing stuff that never got built, but eventually, I think our first project was with the locker room renovations, and we did the fitness center addition, and we did some of the repurposing out in the lobby, and created the food and beverage space. And so now, really unbelievably, and I say unbelievably because it's really the township folks that are kind of astounded, because we're asking them for variances right and left on the development limits on this property. And hopefully we'll get them, because there's some great plans here that really I think are going to add to the degree to which you can enjoy this facility. We got this original little kernel of building here, and there's actually wood framing here. And, you know, we're about to go to more than 250,000 square feet with the wood frame building in the heart of it. That represents a few design challenges, code compliance issues that we're going to, of course, get figured out. But we are looking for some understanding from the township relative to variances on various restrictions that will allow us to really bring this facility to the next level. So let's just look at one of the prime movers of the upgrade, need to upgrade, is the locker rooms. As the membership has grown, the locker rooms, even though remodeled less than 10 years ago, these are seeing some wear and tear, and they're too small. So we need to expand them, both the men and the women's. The opportunity to expand is out here to the west, and with the good graces of the township, we will be able to get out here 40 feet or so into the and basically add 4,000 feet to the locker room complex, and that will require a lot of complicated shifting around, and we're trying to develop these plans to minimize the disruption. Obviously, we're going to be in a construction zone. Are you familiar with that? So there's more to come. At any rate, both the men's and the women's locker rooms will see a serious expansion and upgrade. By the way, I'm going to be here for the next day, all day tomorrow. And if you have any particular concerns about what you'd like to see done, don't hesitate to take me aside. So, the locker rooms are a big deal. Looks like we got a double board here. Is this?
We want you to talk about it twice.
Those are on the screen that you have. Full time. They're all on the
Oh. Well,
Can you show a roundabout, like,
keep up with me.
babe, on the locker rooms, can you show a roundabout, like, where it exists now, so they can see how much more space they're getting?
Yeah. Well, the existing locker room wall is here for men. The existing for the women's is here. This is the spa. Which women, as you know, you can go into the spa from there. But the spa is going to be relocated upstairs, and part of the existing spa will be available for women's expansion. We're going to be expanding the women's into some of what used to be the men's locker rooms, and of course, all the new stuff will be for the men, but try not to hold that against us. It's just an accident of geography. This is the only place.
She likes his story.
Perfect. Do not make jokes about that. Dude, I gotta live with these people. Otherwise, the real reason why that is, and it's all
I gotta
getting
get
done.
with these people.
Well, I can hear it.
No, it's all getting redone. The men are going to be in, a brand new building. But it can't be helped. Well, and then, so that's part of the lower level. The other part of the upper part of that expansion, which is represented by this drawing, involves an expansion of group exercise and relocation of the Technogym studio. So we will have a band of group exercise and specialty exercise studios wrapping around the expanded spa, which we can see in the drawing. Now, the other thing I'd like to point out is you'll have a chance to come up here and kind of look at these drawings, but they're very much works in progress. We spent really a full day on Wednesday and a full day today, and another day tomorrow, working with staff, various program managers to really talk about what's needed here, and basically everything I'm talking about now has changed. No doubt will continue to change, and I think that's a good thing, because we're not just taking I'm not just importing what I did in St. Louis 2 months ago. This is unique, custom fit to the way you guys like it here. So we're going to have this group exercise. On the lower, back to the lower level, we've got the upper part of that expansion will be a large group training room, in effect another studio. That'll be adjacent to the current fitness center. This was the fitness expansion that was done several years ago. And here's the overview of that upper level, where you can see group exercise studios wrapping around the spa and the salon. Now we will have the spa and the salon at the same level. The reception function up here, and the ability to circulate back to the massage rooms, treatment rooms, the hair salon. The other thing that's going to happen here, in addition to this building expansion to the west, the setback at Penn's Trail, is a recreation of the entry to the club. As you know, right now you come into this lower level lobby, a couple of stairs up, stairs down, the elevator. We are proposing to modify that in a way that allows a substantial expansion of the food and beverage seating area, the kitchen, the service counter, which is generally located over here now. That's all going to get reconstructed and built over here. Jim's office goes away. Seems to be pretty happy. But there'll be an enlargement of the dining options here, with still some designated areas for families and adults. The former Technogym area will be repurposed for wellness, administration, and retail. Although that's all been changed now over the last 2 days. Fundamentally, we will have some retailing options here, some built-in retailing options, as opposed to the jewelry tables on the lobby floor. Not to say that stopped. You might be able to give Okay. On the lower level, outside of the indoor pool, the exercise pool and the lap pool, we're proposing to put a 3-lane outdoor lap pool, a 4-season lap pool. It'll be open 12 months in a year. We previously previously had envisioned folks coming out the door and jumping in the pool. Now we're talking about the ability to swim from this pool to this pool without leaving it. So there's some interesting ideas going on here. Could even be a jacuzzi out there.
We were holding that
That's
one.
probably not
for later.
That was going to be a
Yeah. Well,
We'll be
we
honest.
can afford it. Surprise.
Well, anyway, it's going to be an interesting kind of year-round outdoor flat swimming opportunity.